Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our weekly session, our connection for the energy that's available. We know every week there are waves and waves of information, of obviously energy. Sometimes it's more difficult, sometimes it's easier. And when we study, when we awaken consciousness, we allow ourselves to tune into the energy that is available or reject or completely remove ourselves from the equation of negative energy or influence. Such as coming this week. Obviously, we spoke that in this period of time, there are 3 weeks from the middle of the month of Cancer to the middle of the month, the 9 days of the month of Leo, which is starting the 9 days, starting in Tuesday, Wednesday. So, what does it mean? We know Leo even is ruled by the planet star, the planet Sun. What is the Sun? The Sun is amazing, such a necessity to this world. Without it, a second without the Sun, we can't exist. But at the same time, it can be very destructive. So even though it's something amazing and something good, without the ability to harness that or to protect ourselves from an intense connection to what we call the light of the Sun, one can feel devastated. One can feel diminished. Right? So if you take the energy of Leo, sometimes even take the majority of what Leo can do is give love. It's the idea of the Sun. Sun just want to give. But sometimes when you give even love, you have to learn how to, what we call to resist or to delay the amount of love that you want to give. Right? You want to pour love on people. Even that might translate different. So again, let's understand how we can harness and at the same time protect ourselves not to be burned out in this world, and obviously in these days that the energy is more intense. The Kabbalists call it is almost like there's no ozone layer. So we know the risk of that. So it's not bad, it's not negative. I just need to know how to harness that. Second thing is, obviously, in these days, we spoke last week that there's a lot of historical destructions happening. But although in the same idea, it says in the Zohar, in the Kabbalists, that these are the days, those 9 days that comes to us, is the birth. It will be the birth of the energy of what we call Messiah. What is Messiah? Again, we had many discussions about it, but the idea is mind over matter. When human being will not going to be consumed with matters, and only their mind, meaning their mind, it's not the brain, their mind will be able to, again, that's when we achieve in the level of Messiah, when we achieve in the level of connectivity between all of us. You can't do it by one mind, you need a collective. And that is a consciousness beyond logic, that is mind over matter. This is beyond nature, right? And that is the seed level. Another beautiful connection happening in this week, in this weekend called the Shabbat. It's called the Shabbat of the vision, the Shabbat of Chazon, which is the vision. And every year, each one of us receive an opportunity to connect to the vision of their life. What do you mean the vision? Vision is something that one gets sometime and it closed the other time. Sometimes I'm connected to it, sometimes I'm not. In this week, if one interested with the appropriate meditation and consciousness, they can draw another sight to their vision of themselves and to this world. What really means is, what type of vision do I want? The vision of how great I am? Yeah, that's nice from the point of view of the ego, but the vision that I want to have is a collective consciousness. The vision that I want to have is a bigger picture of who I am and who are the people and the situation that comes to my life. And I want to be able to connect what we call the level of prophecy. What is prophecy? It's not to be a prophet. Everybody can be a prophet of the past, right? But the future, right? How do I connect to it? How do I know it's not my own mind? How do I know it's not just my own ideas and it's real prophecy? It's real thing that happened. Because a lot of people have many anxiety and all kind of like weird thoughts come to them, and it's hard for them to decipher. Is it like a prophecy of horrors that can happen in someone's life, or it's just nonsense? Another layer that you want to connect to is to be a witness. Prophecy or sight or vision is when you awaken the energy of witness. To witness the reality. What type of reality? A lot of people staying dormant or staying stagnant when they hear the words witnessing. I just need to look and observe. No. It's very active. And the idea is to most of us, that had a revelation or interaction with the force of creation, with the force of goodness, with the force of influence. Some of us have it. Some of us not yet. But you witness that. And it's your responsibility to share it with the world. Some people are looking at something and they don't witness any creator, any creation, any light, any revelation. Okay, it's very nice. Wow, thank you so much. They think it's people did it. They think the situation passed and, I'm so happy I'm past that. You didn't witness the Creator, your power, your love. You didn't witness it. You're going to go back and do it again. So the sight, the vision that I want to have is not simply going to be introduced to me if I just want it for myself or even being passive. Witnessing is very active. Like imagine you saw, God forbid, you saw something happen to someone. You witnessed what happened to them. Then they call you, hey, can you testify in court? And all of a sudden, no, listen, take my name, or don't take my name, I don't want to be involved. All kinds of stories like that, right? So let's decipher what's going on. Now also another thing that's happening, it's the 5th book of Moses called Deuteronomy, which is the book of Devarim, the book of words or saying that Moses started to say to the people. And in many ways, what is happening in the whole book of Moses, it's almost like a revisit of all the other 4 books, but from the point of view of revelation. From the point of, again, some of it was stories before, but now this book is almost witnessing everything together with the Israelite. Moses speaks to them. Obviously, it's amazing that we can see that now there is a revisit of all the story. Why is that? Why do I need to witness that again? He says, in this week, Moses says to him, "V'adavar asher eksheh mimchem takrivun elai ushma'ativ." What does this Kabbalah says? The Baal Shem Tov mentioning it. What you need to hear, or the difficult conversation that you need to hear, right? Bring it closer. Bring closer to hear a tough conversation. A lot of us, right? And shma'ativ, and I would listen. A lot of us, when there's a tough conversation, do we want to do it? No. Do we want to avoid tough? I know that what they want to tell me, I don't want to look at them. I know they have a difficulty with our product. I don't want to listen to them, right? A lot of those things People are escaping. People run away from a tough conversation, or that client, or this, or that, or the investor want to speak to me. I'm escaping. Right? I like to call it a silly mistake. What a mistake that we have. Every day, that vision, at least this week, wants to be revealed to you. But it's not easy. It's difficult conversation. It's a difficult vision because it required from you to make an action or to take a position that is mostly will be against everybody. It mostly sometimes will feel like a very direct energy of the sun. And it's not comfortable to stare at the sun directly. It's a tough conversation. Therefore comes this energy of these 3 weeks to create for us this buffer, that ability to connect to what is really like, because in every tough conversation, there is the beauty of the secrets within it. So obviously, this voice that comes to us wants to protect us, warn us from not to go to places which there's no return, and also to give us a direction of where you better go or what you better do with your life. Now, it's interesting because I always think, and I shared that many years ago, that I always wonder, Moses is right now standing there, giving them all the information that they need to know. Again, the whole book is a tough conversation from Moses to the nation. So on the side, I just always like thinking about it, in a practical way, right? There were 600,000 people, and Moses, how much can he scream, right? And can the 600,000 people can hear you without a speakerphone or whatever, like a announcer or someone repeat? And how do I know it's not really lost, right? How do I know it's really what I need to hear? So this probably was very difficult. But this is the idea. If you are connected in the right consciousness, you don't need to hear the voice physically. It will insert you. It's like, let's understand. Let's understand what it means, because this is an atomic consciousness that we need to achieve here, right? Every day expanding our consciousness to achieve a level that we can hear the voices that somebody else cannot hear. Think about it. If you take the radio system, right? Like radio, in XM radios, internet radios, channels, even the FM, AM, all those radios, right? How many channels are there? Around the world, I want to say, I don't know, let's expand millions of different channels or radio channels, right? With that, with all the respect to all the channels in the world, in my radio device, I can only hear one station at a time. There's no way you can have a mixture of like a classic and rock in the same channel, right? Obviously, it's not possible to tune in. But let's say you're a DJ, you're tuning in 2 radio or 3. It's only going to sound like noise. So therefore, each one of us is built-in structure of filters. What do we call? Reducing our hearing, reducing everything so we can hear and fixate it only on one channel. So sometimes people saying, I have so many things going through my mind. Don't worry. It's one thing at a time. Why? Because you're not equipped. When it sounds noise, it's because you, in your own illusion or delusion, create that. But we are one channel, one radio. It's not like, even if sometimes there's a sports event that you want to watch like 4 different games in the same time. Yes, you might think that there are 4 games I'm playing, and when you try to look at them, so you always skipping from one thing to another. But really, technically, when you're watching something, you're avoiding the other. Very simple. How do each one of us achieve the level that, like Moses, he spoke, right? With, what's the word that he's using? He says, Ho'il Moshe be'eret HaTorah azot. Moses spoke in only one channel, right? El kol bnei Israel, he says, the entire Israelite, he says. Where is it? Ele hadvarim, he says, these are the words that Asher diber Moshe el kol bnei Israel. He spoke to all Israel, right? At the same time. No matter what level they are, they were able to tune into one channel that he conveyed the message of what they need to hear or be prepared for the next journey before they enter to the land of Israel. What does it mean in our life? It's very nice. Moses is great and spoke. But what does it mean to my life? What it means is that the land of Israel, what we call, is the idea of the higher consciousness I want to achieve. Right? So in order for me to enter to a higher consciousness, there are a few things I need to hear. A few things, some tough conversation needs to happen. So again, let's go back to that idea. There are millions and millions and waves and radio waves and other waves going in and out of your mind, going in and out of your system, going through your body, right? We all learned that it's clear today. I don't need to convince you about it. But what can I accumulate? Almost close to nothing. Even when you listen to one channel, sometimes you're skipping, I didn't hear it, and so forth. So, in this world, the intelligence that exists is a high level is a high definition, right, of intelligence. Very precise, very pure, very elegant. But, because we are rough, because we are dense, because we are thick in our mind, or in the way we study, right? Therefore, it seems like very much noises. All what needs to happen, all what I need to work on, is what I like to say, and spoke about it a little bit more, is the idea of we need to create for ourselves like a sifting mechanism. Sift, filter sometime what comes to you. Like for example, I'm going to wait 1 second before I'm jumping into it. I'm too excited to share with you the tool, but first of all, understand the gift that we have. I would like to expand our ability. I expand our consciousness. So the way you expand, there's many different ways, right? Because we learn, I can only connect to one channel at a time. Again, make clear for yourself that you are connected to one channel at a time, like the radio, exactly what it is. So don't get confused. You have so many channels in and out. No. It's all geared, moved, motivated by one specific. It's just you don't have the right sifting mechanism, so it seems like all garbage. Today, this week, you want to have that connection. Moses, giving them a lot of, like I call it, giving them on the head, right? I don't know how you call it, like giving them the tough conversation, a hard conversation. But he was coming from that place. He didn't really want to be too hard on them, but that's how they hear it, because that's where they needed to hear it. Moses explained in this time the future leaders. He gives them the future leadership in this world. This is the whole book of Deuteronomy, is how the future leader, the future president, the future king that should behave, should think, and so forth. One, he says Devarim. Devarim is words, but also things, right? But there's also a word that we spoke before in the 10 Commandments, is Dibrot. It's the same. but it seems like this is male, Devarim, and Dibrot is female. Now we learn there's no female and male as physically, but the energy of male and the energy of female. What does it mean? In Mount Sinai, the people received in a collective consciousness these 10 commandments will be called 10 utterances, 10 layers will be called 10 different sphirot, 10 different beautiful conduits of how to draw the light in our life. And they needed rules, they needed tools, because obviously throughout the desert or even in Egypt, they saw so many miracles, they split the Red Sea, they heard all the voices and they saw what. But how? It's so vast. When we were in Egypt, it was so small. We were focusing on just getting food and enjoy our watermelon. Now, Moses, you open our mind, you open our consciousness to a greater reality. I need somehow a tool to put us together. So I need some rules and I need some tools. Right? That's what they receive. They receive the vessel, what we call the vessel, us, needed to draw that. Therefore, I cannot without rules and tools. So they pull down what we call the 10 commandments. Many people think it's God gave us the 10 commandments. Because we ask for, because we awaken that. It's how to improve. And here, what is the Creator gives us? In Devarim, is the Creator initiate within us consciousness. Right? Tough conversation. I gave you the tools. I gave you the rules. But now you're about to enter to a much higher level. And in order to enter to a higher level, I need to tell you that those gifts are not simply comes for free. There's payment for those gifts. And if you don't want to pay the price, so you need to work differently. That's cool. Let's understand. Ele, also the word ele, these, right, is Aleph Lamed Hey, which is numerical value of 36. We know in every given moment there's got to be 36 channels to make this world exist. So each one of us sometimes can be a channel for something for a second and it's gone. But we know that that's what we see here. Ela Dvarim, I give you, I want to make you ready or prepared to be a channel for this world. Because without you guys, this world cannot exist. Right? So this is many, many gifts we're receiving in this week. Let's understand a deeper aspect of that. Because we can look at in life. Some of us want relationship. Some of us wants a business. Someone wants an investor. Someone wants to invent something. Someone wants to move to a different place, right? If you look at that, anything that you want, which is greater than very little, has to come with suffering and pain around it. If you're in a relationship and you don't have a certain level of suffering, what do you mean suffering? Disagreement, I'm not so happy there, it's painful what they say, they don't provide for me what I want. Any business, you do business, and there's no suffering there, right? To listen to the client, to obey to this, and obviously taking some pain into it. There's also another layer of suffering that we don't see when we're starting something. Because we're going to open a restaurant, I'm going to cook, and it's going to be amazing, and the people are going to love the food. Yeah? Go speak to a restaurateur, and if he tells you the truth, he will tell you don't ever go into a restaurant, right? Or any other business. Now you would be convinced, it's because he doesn't want competition, or blah, blah, blah. But remember, if you're not willing to take the beating, the tough conversation, don't start. Because it's not suffering and it's not pain. It's tough conversation. It starts there. And then if you are not willing to do that, and if you are avoiding and running away from that, to give it or to receive it, the second option, pain and suffering. That cleanses. Pain and suffering cleanses. And eventually, I suffer too much, you're going to listen. Don't worry. If it's painful enough, you're going to listen. Right? So, let's say, for example, when someone is choosing the other direction, doesn't want to have the tough conversation, doesn't want to give the tough conversation, which I'm going to spend a little bit more time about it, what ends up happening in reality that you're choosing not to have the tough conversation, it's inevitable that pain and suffering will be part of it. What ends up happening? People become bitter. There's a bitterness. There's dissatisfaction. There is disagreement internal. And obviously we're trying to throw it, my employees are this, I'm so disappointed with them, I'm so disappointed with my wife, I'm so disappointed with my kids, my parents, blah, blah, blah. What is happening here? What is happening to the individual? He starts tuning his radio into bitterness. And everything, even the sweetest thing you give the person is bitter about it. Even a great result comes. And you tell them, why are you not happy? Look what you have. Sometimes I'm speaking to people in New York. Sometimes. All the time. And some of them sometimes, don't even know. Like I spoke to people, they're making pretty much good money. And they don't even know that they are part of the 1% of the most wealthiest people in the world. Most powerful people in the world. Me, I'm just working for this company. Doesn't matter. You have to understand. You can be in the most sweetest honey and amazing reality, but you can feel bitter about it. It's not because the situation is like that. It's because you tune your radio to all these bitterness, and all the speakers who come and speak there are bitter. Meaning all your friends, all the people that you invite, it's bitter. If you don't change your channel, you're going to continue with this path. No new vision, no new story. Again, let's understand, what is this sifting mechanism that we need to have? Each one of us individually. And what I'm speaking about here is expanding my consciousness. Sifting is expanding. What do you mean? Sifting is like you remove a layer. Yes, because when you go to the nuclear, you need more or you need less. Think about it. Let's say, for example, back then, I don't know how many years ago, but if you need to have a supercomputer, many times we spoke about it. You can see a computer. They say if you need to build a supercomputer, you see rooms and rooms. What do you mean? Stations of huge servers. Or, I was working with my kids over here, and they doing those phone system. They're doing construction, and you see all those what we call the cyber. Those fiber. Right? Those, what do you call the fiber? I forgot. Those phone lines, right? Back then, in order to have like phone lines, if you, I don't know if you had a chance to look at the documentary, how they deliver the phone lines from how do they connect London or England to America, right? It was a huge project, massive one, right? And still was only maybe just for the Morse, right? Or telegram they call it, whatever. Today, you take a hair size of a wire, it can have millions and millions of phone lines. Wow, doesn't make any sense. You take computers, even my computer I record right now, I have like so much information on it, and it's so small. How do you explain it? The reduction of the matter, chomer, the physicality. So obviously a lot of us need to understand that key. I'm not asking you to have less. I'm asking your consciousness to have more. And more consciousness, less detachment of what we call the world of matter. Let's understand it a little bit more. There is the world that we see, which is physical world. The Kabbalists explain this is the world of illusion, the world of lies. Everything in this world is a complete lie. What do you mean lie? Look at what's happening here. Look at it's what my eyes, it's what my ability to observe right now, it seems like the truth. It's not the truth. The truth is almost close to a fraction of what you see around you. Everything is to sift the lies from the truth. How do I know there's lies? More, or because the desire to receive for the self alone is connected. For example, I have a friend, he's looking for investor. I have 24 hours. If not, I'm going to file bankruptcy. And look, amazing, the investor came. I want to give them the deals, right? I don't have chance. He says, wait a second. What if he's a complete liar? What if he's a liar? Yeah, I checked their bank account. I checked their friends. I checked this. Maybe. You checked what you wanted to check. You didn't check what you don't want to check. Right? Tough conversation. Tough conversation is the truth. Lies is the illusion. The desire to receive for the self alone. I want something, therefore I cannot see the truth about it. For example, we said many times, if you are interested to be in a relationship and you are desperate for a mate, for a partner, right? What will end up happening? Because of that, you will avoid the truth. For example, you're a fisherman. You go to fish. So if you want to fish like only big, big fish or big tunas in overseas, so you're going to make a net with the holes in the nets a little bit wider, because you want all the small fish not to take place or weight on your net. You want to catch the big fish, the rest. But let's say if you want to catch sardines, right? All of a sudden, I would create a little bit smaller holes, and I'm going to go to specific places where there's no big fish. It's only those pools for that, right? I hope that's clear. So what is this idea? The sifting mechanism changes based on how much do I want for myself now, I need it now, and how much I'm willing to sift the lies from the truth, which means I'm not going to receive right now, but I'm avoiding pain and suffering, and I would be able to hear the truth, and the truth remain forever. If you have one true client, you don't need anything else, as opposed to many liars. You have one true investor that's connected to the truth. You don't need all the other liars. Not that they're lying. This is this world. Not people lying to you because people are liars. No. Each one of us, ask yourself, what is the story you're telling yourself? Right? Moses says, Moses wrote that book. Sefer is a book. But it's come from the word sipur, story. So Moses tells them, listen, in this portion, what does he do? It is reminding them, giving them tough conversation, but with love. He tells them, you remember, we were in the desert, and you were thirsty. And all of a sudden you realize there's a desert, and how are we going to drink? Right? So, at that moment, you were willing to kill me. Because you brought us in to die, right? They connected to the world of lies. And Moses showed them, here, from this rock we're going to bring water. Relax. The water is here. But sift all the lies. And now they can look at it, they look back and says, wow, what a silly mistake. Wow, I can't believe it. How we fell into that lies. And many others. Like before the splitting of the Red Sea, or places that had war with many situations like that. He went there and told them, okay, let's see what's happening. What was the truth? But you could not see the truth because you were, I need water right now. I don't care what we need to do. Israel, no Israel, who cares? I need water right now. They come to kill me right now. Who cares? Now let's solve it. I have pain right now. How I'm going to solve the pain? Who cares about like going, go do a cold therapy or change my food habits? The pain is right now. Who cares? Give me the pills. Remember, you have a choice. You can connect to the reality of pain and suffering that is attached to everything in this world. Why? Because it's attached to the world of lies and illusion. And if you're not going to be able to sift through that, what is the truth? What is the tough conversation that I need to make with myself? Where am I leading and guiding my life? What is the channel that I'm connected to? What is this wave that I'm connected to? And if I always, want to hear my own story, eventually a story without a vision is boring. Listen, I have many conversations with people. People with no vision, people with no big picture. It's so boring, the conversation. It's all about what? Remember yesterday, or remember last year, or remember when we were kids, or remember this. It's always about the history, never about the future. Right? And again, it's boring. Without vision, without inspiration, it's almost impossible to create or to change the reality of pain and suffering. So obviously, I would encourage us to encourage our ability, because if you don't have a vision, if you don't have that sight to who you are, what is the witnessing of the entire reality, in witnessing the creation in action, it's not inspiring to keep complaining about my relationship, and this is bad, and this is wrong, and the company, and the government, and blah, blah, blah. So, this is a beautiful connection. You got just another touch. Remember, there's a study about lucky, being lucky. Everybody's like, oh, you're so lucky, and you're so lucky, and this is amazing when people think about it, right? Oh, I need more luck in my life. I need to be lucky. Let me understand it. Even, at I don't know, I don't think it's the tarot card or something, the goddess of the fortune. The goddess of, she's blind. I didn't even know that. She's blind. But let me tell you, it's she, I don't know, they say it's a she, the goddess, right? But why is blind? Not to differentiate between people. That's the idea. Because it's nothing to do with, oh, you're lucky, we're going to give it to you. No. It's, when someone succeeds against all odds, you call them lucky. It's nonsense, right? It's something that you're connected to, because luck, or lucky, being lucky, doesn't judge who you are, what you are. It's really about the radio, the tuning. What station are you tuned into? Right? This is Devarim. These are the things that Moses giving to the people. So obviously, we want to awaken that consciousness this week. Invite tough conversation to people and to you. Tough meaning sometimes seeing the truth about yourself. Sometimes seeing the truth about others. Realize that I'm going with that individual because, it's not my truth, but it's I'm desperate. No. We shouldn't do that. We don't want to connect to it, because it's just drawing and connecting to suffering and pain. So, as much as we can to connect to the truth about ourselves, about our vision. And again, I want to wish you a beautiful week. And remember, Tuesday, Wednesday, the new moon of Leo. Please tune yourself to those days. Reduce. We know in the 9 days we taking the time not to increase reactivity or even connecting to what we call left column, to desire to receive for ourselves alone. It's very risky because of the energy or intensity of the sun energy. Okay? So obviously if you have any question, you can always ask, you can always text or even on the chat. Please share it and let's spread this wisdom to everyone. Thank you.